I took the piss out of someone once and I felt really bad about it. And I thought I was joking, and then I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of being a bully. This was years and years ago, but I was like, oh, I don't really like that. You know when you just get that feeling in yourself? Because you're so used to just fucking around with everyone.
Yeah.
But they're your boys. So we fuck around all the time and say the worst shit, but then you say someone that you don't really know as much. And you're doing it in a way that you think is with love, but then you're like, actually, he's not that kind of person.
Yeah.
And he might leave feeling bad or whatever. So you don't want to do that.
But also, like, you wouldn't want to roast someone you don't like or necessarily respect.
Yeah, but and that's the thing. It's a term of endearment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it's like, if I like you, I'm gonna fuck with you.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't roasting this guy. Do you know what? Actually, this was one of the most profound experiences of my life when this happened. This was basically, so it was a Halloween party like a 4 or 5 years ago, and I was with my girlfriend at the time, and we were at this party, and we're on like the balcony, and everyone's in Halloween. I borrowed a friend's costume, and it was like an orange prison jumpsuit uniform. So I got to the party, and I'm on the balcony, and there's this girl there, and I was cool with her. I wasn't gonna do anything with her, but my girl was at the party. But I was like talking to her, and you know when you get that validation where she was laughing at everything I was saying, she was flirting with me, and I was like I can't lie, I was getting a hit off the validation. I was a young man, whatever, but I didn't do anything obviously. Anyway, so we're chatting and stuff, and then this guy comes over, and he's like, oh, I love your costume, man. And just for a laugh, I was like, oh, it's not a costume, man, you know. And I thought that would be it. And he was like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, I came out of pen today, just got out. And he was like, oh shit, man, like that's really intense. And I looked at him and I was like, oh, he's not fucking with me. He actually thinks I've just come out of prison.
And this is an orange jumpsuit.
Orange jumpsuit,
which is not a fucking
right.
Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, well, either he's genius level fucking with me, or he genuinely thinks I've just come out of prison. I'm still in my jumpsuit. They didn't give me my clothes back, and then I've just come to a house party looking like I've just come out of prison. So I was
orange jumpsuit in a UK prison.
right.
Is hilarious.
So I'm just like, well, I'm gonna fuck with him a bit. So I was just like, yeah, no. He's like, what was it like? I'm like, he's like, what were you in for? And I was like, you can't ask me that, man. I'm not allowed to talk about that. Like, you can't. That's rule number 1 on the wing. Like, I'm just chatting shit. But then and she's howling. The girl's laughing. So I'm getting the hit off the girl, and my girlfriend's there as well. She's watching the whole thing. And for the first minute or two, it was funny. And then after a while, like I kept going and just kept saying all this elaborate shit. And he was just like, he was a really nice guy, and he was just buying it. And then they got to a moment where I started to feel a little bit bad, but I was still like drowning in the fun of it or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so at one point he left, and then my girl walked out the balcony, and I was like, oh, like, what's up? So I went to go and speak to her, and she was like, I'm gonna go home. And I was like, what's up? And she's like, I didn't like that. And I was like, didn't like what? I was just fucking with the guy. She's like, that wasn't like that was bullying. And I was like, no, I wasn't. And you know when someone calls you out, you get like fucking. I don't want to. Because I don't want to accept that I'd done a bad thing. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I was just fucking with him. I was just joking. And she was like, and then bro, she spun this on me, and you're the only ones who will actually appreciate this fully. You know, Patrice is like my all-time hero, innit? Yeah. Patrice O'Neill, rest in peace. She said to me, she was like, I was like, oh, it was just jokes, And she turned around, she was like, you know, you're always going on about Patrice and being righteous and this and that. That wasn't righteous. And I was like, rah, she's used my hero against me. And she was 100% right. And I was like, fuck, I was being a dick. And it just like hit, and I felt so bad. And from that day forward, I was always conscious, like I'm never gonna fuck with someone unless I'm so sure that we're all on equal plane and we're all fucking with each other the same way. But it fucking calling out my hero and just being like, what would Patrice think of that? And I'm like, oh fuck,